Now, it's always a great pleasure to interview an expert on local television, and it's an added pleasure when it's on a topic about which you know absolutely nothing yourself. And this is what's going to happen now next. I have here Johnny Buckley from Killamatra. Many of you will remember Johnny from his album, which we spoke about on local television. And I hope at this stage that you all have a copy of it at home and that you're enjoying it. But today we're going to talk about bees. Now, Johnny, welcome back to local television.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Delighted to have you. Johnny, you are a bit of an expert on bees.
I wouldn't say I was an expert because it is very difficult to become an expert on that topic. There's
Yes.
actually more books written on bees than any other subject in the world.
Is that the way?
That is a fact, yeah. That is a fact.
And you have most of them read.
I've very few of them read. I'm actually a bad beekeeper.
Go on, okay, tell us how what you do with bees.
Well,
how many hives have you?
I have 9 hives at the moment.
Yes.
I started off in 1995. I always had an interest in bees. I loved honey as a young fella.
Yes.
And when they'd be come in the summertime around, we'll say June, July, if there was a section of honey brought from town, I'd nearly eat the whole lot, and
You'd love it.
they'd be beating me back from the table.
Yeah.
So I decided in 1995 that I would do something about it.
Yes.
And I went away and I made a couple of hives because I was at timber anyway. So I said, this can't be too difficult to do.
Yes.
And if I make a mistake, so what?
Right.
But I started and I made 2 hives, and a man from Macroom, Christy Lee, he
Yes.
helped me. There were swarms all over the place that time. The phone used to be red from May till July, people ringing me up saying, come, there's a swarm in the bushes, there's a swarm in the house, there's swarms all over the place. No, that has changed since then.
Yes.
But I got into bees. Christy showed me how to take a swarm. There was a swarm on a branch of a tree, and he showed me how to knock it down,
Yes.
to hit the branch and have a sheet or something white underneath him, and they fell down and they crawled into the box like an army of soldiers marching. It's amazing to watch it.
Really?
If you haven't seen a swarm
Are you saying-
marching into a hive,
Yeah.
the guard bees stand with their rear end up in the air, pointing towards the entrance of the hive, and all the bees marching. It's a fabulous sight to see it.
My goodness
Absolutely
me.
fabulous.
And
sight
had
to see it.
you the gear on you at
I
that
had no
stage?
gear. I had no gear at that stage.
Had you not?
No, I had no gear at
And
that
were you
stage.
afraid of getting stung?
I got a couple of stings, but nothing bad.
It didn't put you off?
It didn't put me off. No, I was determined to stay going.
Yeah.
But I got the suit in very shortly after that because I had 2 that year, and I kind of lived with them. I used to be watching morning, noon and night
Yeah.
to see their progress. And then the next year I made a couple of more boxes, and I finished up with about 16 or 17 over a period of 7 or 8 years.
Yes.
But then about 2005 or 6, the varroa started to come into Ireland.
Now tell us what this is.
He's a small little parasite. He lives on the bee.
Yes.
He can actually attach onto the bee, and he sucks their blood,
Yes.
and he goes into the hive then, and he multiplies inside in the hive,
Right.
especially in drone comb, which takes only about 18 days to hatch out. Or sorry, 21 days to hatch out.
In what comb now did you say?
Drone.
Yeah.
The drone, there's 3 types of bees inside in the hive. There's the queen, there's the worker bees, and there's the drones. The drones are the main.
And that's a separate it's a separate apartment, as it were, inside, or compartment.
Well,
inside there.
there's different cells that are different size,
Yeah.
and they have drone comb for drone bees,
Yeah.
and they have worker comb, which are slightly smaller.
Yeah. And what were you going to say about the drone?
The parasite prefers to live in the drone comb because it takes a day longer for the drone to hatch out than the workers.
comb? Right.
So he can multiply 3 generations inside in that cell in that period of time,
In what period of time?
in about 19 days.
Wow. 3 generations.
3 generations, yes. If 3, there is a sequence there. If 3 goes in and breed inside, I think there's about 9 or 10 that can come out after when the bee is hatching.
I see.
So that they really, really do weaken the colony, because the bees are born then with wings and legs and parts of their abdomen missing, and they can't function.
Now, is this? I remember we mentioned this before here on local television. The wild bee in Ireland, as we know it, and the colonies of wild bees that people know in the woods and that,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be totally gone at this stage.
They're well, I wouldn't say they're totally gone, but they won't survive without man's interference. Now, if some of my bees swarm, inevitably someone will go and into a tree or into a house or something. But over a period of a couple of years, they will get weakened and die out. So if bees were left to their
So they
own
can't
devices,
survive.
if bees were left to their own devices in the wild, they probably wouldn't last long.
Right.
About
Because
3 or 4
of this
because
parasite.
of this parasite, yeah. And he actually weakens the bees, and disease like acarine or nosema or some other disease will kill them off then.
So in some ways, like, I suppose I had in my head that the reason for the demise of the wild bee was because of chemicals that we're using and because of insecticides and all that kind of thing, and it's not that.
It's not specifically
Yeah.
that. Is from going to lectures and things, they tell us, I'm learning that the biggest cause of bee decline is the varroa mite.
Okay.
That's actually the biggest thing in Ireland.
Now, is there anything, we'll say, that I can do? You know, I'm living in a house with a garden, small, not a very big garden, but
Yeah.
handy enough garden. Is there anything I can do in my situation to kind of help preserve the bee colonies?
You can do a little bit, but if everybody did a little bit, it would all add up to
Yeah.
a cumulative effect, which is flowers.
Yes.
You know, and bees tend to go for the richest source of nectar.
Yes.
Now, some people like a vegetable garden, more people like a flower garden, but it's up to yourself really. But anything that flowers, really, they will get
Yeah,
they will get
I
nectar
read
from it.
somewhere not too long ago that even if you have a vegetable garden, that it's very good to put in flowers in there
Oh yes,
as
it is.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
And the benefit of that, of course.
yeah. Well, like if you look at nature, we have everything in nature. There's a friend of mine, Mick Kennedy, who's a gardener,
Yeah.
and he says that everything we need is around us. We don't need to go searching for things. Everything is around us if we look and see what it is.
Yes.
And the old thing in the Bible was the land of milk and honey.
Yes.
Well, we are living in the land of milk and honey.
Yes.
Like Ireland is good for producing milk, and any land that will produce milk will produce honey.
Yes. Yes.
So a colony needs about an acre of land to sustain it.
Right.
Now, Ireland's potential for to produce honey is massive,
Yeah.
but it all comes down to education.
Yes.
Educate people on how to look after their bees.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you said, like even the small gardener, maybe like me, I know it will benefit my apple trees
will,
and so
it
forth
will, it
because
will.
of pollination
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like the bees are fantastic. What is the earliest time I could expect to find bees in the garden after the winter?
You could expect to see them in February.
Could you?
You could expect to see them in
As
February,
early as
as
that.
early as February,
And
if the weather is
What are
favourable.
they doing?
They're gathering pollen for a start.
But where have these bees come from now?
They were hibernating inside in hives.
All
now
winter?
Yeah, all winter, yeah. Now, there are quite a lot of people beekeeping over the last 4 or 5 years. The number of beekeepers has increased dramatically,
Yes.
which is a fabulous thing.
Yes.
Now, a beehive, there could be 10 colonies inside a fence, and you drive along the road and you wouldn't see them.
Right.
You know,
you
because-
mean kept by beekeepers?
Kept by beekeepers, yeah.
Yes.
And we're told to keep them away from the public
Yes.
because of the risk of getting stung, and it's common sense really.
Ah, yeah.
You site your apiary on a good site facing southeast with shelter from the north, west, and the
Yes.
north and the east,
Yes.
so that they need shelter. They're like humans. If you
Yes.
have the same living conditions for bees as you have for humans, they will do well.
Yes. Now, talk to me for a second about the different kind of bees that we have. Like, I'm thinking of, for instance, I'm thinking of a bumblebee,
Right?
and I'm thinking of a wasp,
Yeah.
and then I'm thinking of a honeybee.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, they're all bees, really.
all bees, yeah.
You know, we'll
Yeah.
say they're
Yeah.
all bees. But they behave very differently.
They do.
they?
They do. We actually have 101 different species of bee in Ireland.
What?
101 different species of bee. Yeah.
Tell me more.
There's solitary bees. There's quite a lot of solitary bees.
Just live on their own.
They just live on their own, yeah. Yeah. I don't know an awful lot about them, but I'm sure if you Googled it that you would come up with...
I mean, have I got these in my garden?
You probably have them, yeah. You probably have them, yeah.
So what does he look like? Does he look like
They're all different kinds. All different kinds. Some
Yeah.
are small, some are... They wouldn't be as big as the bumblebee. The bumblebee would be the biggest.
Right.
But there are different subsections in the bumblebee as well.
Okay, so you're nearly saying to me, I'm really digging now here. I'm really getting lost. But you're really saying no? If I say to you that I saw an insect up in the back garden
Yeah.
that wasn't a fly but was about that size or a little bit bigger, is it likely that he was one of
It
these
could be.
bees?
It could be one of these species. Yeah. It
Could
could
it?
be. Yeah. It could be. Yeah. It could be.
Okay, okay. Let's just take the broad spectrum then. Say the bumblebee, the wasp, and the honeybee.
Yeah.
Now, the bumblebee, what's he doing?
He's pollinating as well.
But what's he doing? Where's he living? And
He's living-
who is he with him?
He's living in the ground. I don't know an awful lot
In the
about the
ground?
bumblebees. Yeah, they live
Not
in the
up in
ground.
the tree.
They, as far as I know, they don't live in the trees. They have a nest in the ground or in a wall or in a stone fence or something. And badgers love to dig out their nests.
Of course, they have the honey in
They
there
have
for
a certain,
themselves.
they have a nectar of some kind. I wonder would you call it honey?
Okay, yeah.
But
yeah.
the Irish name for it was a coosnog.
Coosnog.
A coosnog, yeah.
And that's the bumblebee's
That's
nest.
the bumblebee's nest, yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
And then what about these wasps?
The wasps tend to make a kind of a papery ball, and they can be either in the ground or they can be anywhere really.
You see them hanging from a tree.
They can hang from a tree. They go into houses, garden sheds. It's a very common place to find them.
But if like we'll say, if I look up in a tree now and I see this kind of a beige, papery,
Yeah,
kind of
that's wasps.
like a lampshade,
Like a lampshade, yes.
Isn't it?
Lovely shape, yeah. Beautiful shape.
Yeah. Now, if I saw a fella coming out of the ground, has he got that inside in the ground?
They would have a similar thing in the ground, yeah.
He'd
They
actually have created that,
They
would he?
would, they would, yeah. They would, yeah. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the less pleasant side of bees.
Right.
If I get a colony of bees up on my roof,
Yeah.
or wasps, or anything, can a fella like you help me in that
I
situation?
could help you. Like if you get, well, you can also ring the crowds, they call them rent or kill. They will come out and they will destroy the, whatever it is, a colony of bees or wasps or whatever. And in extreme cases, we have to do that.
Yes.
Now, it depends on what kind of a roof you have. There is a bit of work involved in taking them out of a roof.
Okay.
If you're renovating a house, it's not so bad. But if it's a fairly new house, which I have done in new houses, you have to get in and take off slates and tiles and all that. It can be an expensive undertaking.
Oh, okay. Right.
So, like, you can't expect somebody to come along and spend their time. I know we get the bees. If we can get the bees intact, it's worth something. But when you weigh up the amount of time and things that's in it,
Yes.
it can be expensive.
And if I have a colony of honeybees,
Honeybees, yeah.
honeybees, well, of course they're mostly. I won't have them now, sure. I won't mostly.
No, it's about May, from May on that the swarms.
But I mean, I won't have them because they're kept. They're not in the wild really so much
They're not in the
anymore.
wild, but
they won't turn up on my roof.
They could because colonies will escape from beekeepers. It's very difficult to maintain vigilance all the time.
Yeah.
And to stop your colonies from
yeah,
swarming.
you were saying that earlier, yeah.
And they can
Even though they may
swarm.
not survive only a couple of years.
They'll still, that's their instinct, is to go and swarm and find a suitable home wherever they can find it.
Okay. And the other thing then is, if I have a colony of bees, say that I'm concerned about children around the place.
Yes, yeah.
And or a colony of wasps.
Wasps would be worse than bees.
Let's put it like this. Is a beekeeper interested in being phoned up and invited to come and take away my bees? I don't want them. They
Yeah.
might be of some value to you.
Yeah, some beekeepers will.
Will they?
They will, but like you have to take into account the beekeeper's age. Now, some people, when they get older, they can manage their own colonies, but go up on ladders and we'll say tearing at roofs, they wouldn't have the skills to do it.
Yeah.
So you have to really ask somebody that is capable of doing it.
And when it comes to wasps, then of course they're only obliging you really to.
They're only obliging you, yeah.
You pay them.
Yeah,
to
well,
do
you
it.
can pay them if you want,
whatever.
yeah. But yeah.
Now, just kind of bringing this to a close. Well, maybe not just yet, but the bees themselves have a fantastic civilization, haven't they?
They have, and strangely enough, they share 60%. We share 60% of our genes with honeybees.
What?
We do. 60% of our genes.
I can just think of some fellas now out there, and it's identifying where that is.
But they have a fabulous social structure, and it all depends on the queen.
Yes.
A young queen will give off what's called a pheromone,
Yes.
a chemical scent, a
Yes.
substance, and all the bees in the hive go to the queen
Yes.
for that every day.
Yes.
Now, when she's strong, she'll give off that pheromone, and all the colony will work very well.
Yes.
But if anything happens to the queen, when she gets old, she will deteriorate, and the bees will get lazy, and they won't forage, and we'll say the unity in the hive can go down.
Yes.
But normally the bees will supersede that queen. They will form a queen cell. They will actually go about rearing queens, a number of queens inside in that hive.
Right.
And just as about after 8 days of the bees forming this queen cell, we'll call it,
Yes.
the old queen in the hive has to leave.
Right.
She'll decide she'll take her workers with her and she'll go and find a new home
Okay.
somewhere else.
Okay.
And those bees then will hatch out after 18 days and a new queen will be formed. She will go out on a mating flight and mate with several drones and come back, and the whole thing begins again. A new colony, they're vibrant, and off they go.
Fantastic, yeah,
So-
absolutely. But like the categories then inside in the hives, they all have well, I'm thinking they don't all have a function, but you'll put me right in this. We know the queen bee has a function, and we know the worker bees have a function.
Yeah.
What about the drones?
The drones seemingly have more functions than we realise. Their main function would be to reproduce, to mate with queens.
Yes.
And like the more drones that are there is the more selection that they have to choose from.
Right.
You know, I still don't understand it fully, and people are still studying that.
Yes. Yes.
Because people were saying to eliminate drones, that you only need so few drones, but they're coming to the conclusion now that 17% of the colony should consist of drones
Right.
around May.
Yes.
They do more functions than we understand. We're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
studying
Yeah.
the bees, but the workers have several different functions.
Yeah.
When a worker bee hatches out, she has nurse duties,
Yes.
nursing young bees.
I see.
Then it goes to cleaning duties.
Yes.
She cleans the hive. Then she goes to become a guard bee, guarding the entrance.
All right.
And then she progresses to becoming a foraging bee, which is flying out and bringing back nectar and pollen and whatever the colony needs to sustain it.
Yes.
So that is basically what the life cycle of a worker bee is.
And they're good to communicate, are they, with each other?
Oh, their communication system is far superior to any human communication system.
Really?
Far superior.
In what
yeah.
way?
They can tell the distance of food. They can tell the direction of where food is by doing their dance.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's halfway around the mountain that cannot be seen in a straight line, they can give directions to go around that obstacle,
Yeah.
which humans
Yeah.
humans can do, like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they
But
can do it like we
it's
don't
spread.
understand how
And what
they can
about
do it.
danger? If there's danger to the colony,
Well, if there's danger to the colony, they will attack. Their instinct is to preserve themselves.
and will they tell each other where the danger is?
Oh, they will, yeah, immediately. Like, if you go near a colony, the one thing that they'll is your breath.
Yeah.
The carbon dioxide from your breath. If you just go to the mouth of a hive and just one little breath in like that,
Yes.
you'll hear the buzz inside and there'll be guard bees out to you straight away.
Is that right?
So if you're in fear of an attack, put your hand over your mouth and cover your mouth with a garment or something.
Yes.
And put your head down and go as near to the ground and get out of the danger area as quickly as you can.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, but
Yeah. Now we'd better come towards a close. There is a national organisation, isn't there, for beekeepers?
there is the Irish Beekeepers Federation, or
And
the
is-
Federation of Irish Beekeepers.
Is there a local branch?
The nearest club would be Dunmanway.
Right.
To me, is Dunmanway.
So
Now,
if somebody out there is interested in getting involved with starting off,
yeah,
say,
I know. Yeah.
how would they do that?
Well, they could go online and Google their nearest beekeeping association, and they'd be more than welcome to join up.
Would they?
Oh, definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
There's no sort of rivalry there.
Oh, there's no rivalry. No, there's absolutely no rivalry.
Isn't there?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Johnny, you're a man of great knowledge.
Thank you.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
not just a singer, but a man of great knowledge. So,
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much for coming in to us
Thank you,
today.
Brendan. It was a pleasure.
And, gosh, that's
Yeah.
we could stay at it for the rest
Oh,
of
we
the,
could.
of
We
the
could.
day,
We
couldn't
could.
we?
Yeah, we could.
It's
we could
a
indeed,
fascinating
yeah.
subject.
Very, very good subject.
But I think I quoted this one time, and I hope I'll get it now. And if I don't, I'll ask Danja to edit it out. I think it was Einstein who said one time, you might know this, and you might be able to help me with it. No bees, no flowers. No flowers, no food.
Yes.
No food, no animals.
Yeah.
No animals, no men.
No, man. Correct. He was correct. Yeah. He was correct.
Do you know?
I do.
That sequence,
yeah,
like-
that sequence, yeah. But moths are a very important pollinator as well.
Now, I'm telling you something. You were going to come back to us to talk about maths.
I don't know a lot about maths.
Well, you can come back and tell us what you do know.
Okay.
Because that would be a very interesting subject.
Okay,
But that's
okay.
not something that people understand.
No.
And I certainly don't know anything about that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not only do I not know about bees,
Yeah.
but I don't know about maths
Maths
either.
are a fantastic, they're unbelievable.
Are they really? And is it at night?
At night, yeah.
Okay.
At night.
We'll leave
At
that there
night.
now,
Okay.
as we'll just
Okay.
tease the people with
Okay.
that much and whet their appetites for the next interview.
Okay.
Johnny, thanks a
I
million.
was going to do my research now.
You must indeed. Thank you very much. So there's a man of fabulous knowledge and great raconteur, really. I've enjoyed my chat with him here this morning, and I'm sure you did too. Now,